What's up, guys? How's it going? Welcome back to the PokePodcast, the #1 podcast for the collectors, and we are still on our American trip, which means we had to stop by the one and only PokeRev's Poke Cave. This isn't the Poke Cave, as you can see, but we thought, you know what? Let's get an episode in.
We had to get here, yeah. So thank you very much for joining us and having us as well.
I'm delighted to be here.
We've literally just recorded a few videos, they have been.
It's been quite a
crazy.
day, yeah.
They've been absolutely phenomenal. You're gonna have to just keep an eye on all three.
You're never going to ask us to come over again.
I will, but I'm gonna need you to open the packs up for me, like my packs for me, just so we can get something for everybody.
Yeah, literally. Okay, so let's start off. We have done another episode in America where we've been out here.
Yeah, so we've been on tour as such.
Yeah, we've sort of spoken a few things, and one of the things we've been speaking recently is Worlds coming up in August.
Yeah,
which is in London. The first ever championships that's outside, or Worlds that is outside of North America. I guess the first question what the people might want to be hearing is there going to be a potential PokeRev appearance, or what's your overall thoughts on Worlds? Have you ever been to any? I think we spoke recently and you said you've been up to one.
Yeah, I went to one, was it 3 or 4 years ago? Yeah, and that one wasn't too far from me. That was a couple hour drive, so we went out there, and yeah, it was fun. That was before I started my channel. But it was like the first time I got to kind of interact with like a lot of collectors and everybody in the community. So I mean, it was fun. You know, it was cool meeting people.
Yeah.
But yeah, the one coming up, I might just have to, I don't know, I might have to flip a coin and just like, just 50-50 maybe, you know. I'd love to get out there.
It is very tough, obviously, because we've never been to ones in America. So it's very understandable to see it from the other side. Obviously, we're like, oh, we're going to go this one because it's closer, but
we're very lucky with this one. It's on our doorstep. It's not as easy to just international travel, obviously, compared to traveling in the States. It's slightly different, so. Yeah,
I mean, you got it, it's like in your backyard now, so you're going to go over there, like, it's a blast.
Every day. So, as people who've never been to a Worlds, and you've only been to one, it was a couple of years ago, what is the sort of things to expect, or was there a really cool experience that you never, like you mentioned, it was like one of the first times you've never kind of interacted with the community. What is there that you can expect at these sort of events?
Yeah, so I think with the events right now, they're kind of evolving and changing like really rapidly. Ever since, you know, a few years ago, 2-3 years ago, Pokemon's really taken off. And then you have all these other sort of like conventions and events that have been taking place. I don't know if Pokemon is kind of sitting back and like saying, okay, now we're gonna start implementing more things for actual like general admission people to do. That was one of the things outside of just like mingling and meeting people in the community. Outside of that, you know, you could trade with people. It wasn't like anything official, but people would be kind of like sitting, you know, in a certain area, and you kind of go up and people were, you know, buying and stuff. Well, I don't think you're like technically allowed to like sell stuff.
Buy and
like,
sell.
But it would be like, you know, like under just the camouflage as trades, but then I mean, it's, yeah, so there are people selling, and obviously all the players is the main aspects of it. So I'm very curious to see if they're gonna actually kind of have a lot more different events going on for general admission. I think it would be pretty like smart for them to take that next level. Don't get me wrong, there was really cool stuff going on. Like they had like people playing certain Pokemon video games. I don't know if it was like Pokemon Go and different games where they were having competitions on stage. That was cool to watch.
Oh, sweet.
They had like a few other sort of like things going on stage, and just overall being able to watch people play, and it was a good time. I mean, it's cool to get out and like, you know, besides sitting back in like your studio or whatever, like we do all the time, it's like get out there and kind of just have fun. So yeah, it's probably going to be amazing.
I think we mentioned it as well. It's a really good way of building relationships with people as well, because when you want to buy, sell, trade, whatever, obviously doing it across Instagram, the internet, there is always that possibility of being scammed, or maybe someone has said it's mint condition when it's played and whatever. So when you meet these people in person, not only can you build a relationship with someone, but like you can actually see what you're getting in front of you, sort of thing. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it's nice, especially for the UK, because we don't have as much going on as maybe like you guys do over here. It's sort of, just be able to connect with people that are maybe going to travel for it, and like you say, trade and selling, or you're allowed to or not. I don't want anyone to take that, but you're not allowed.
On the down low.
Yeah, literally.
But like meet in person and all that, I think the social aspect of it is good as well.
Was there any collections that you saw when you went and you were like, oh my god, like I didn't even know this kind of people had these sort of cards sort of thing?
You know what? It wasn't like there was some cool stuff. I think honestly, Radar, like John was bringing, he like was pulling out like base set booster boxes. I was like, it was like an endless backpack of like sealed.
Like Mary Poppins bag.
Yeah. He was like, he had like some pickup and he was just like pulling them out like, and then he was messing around. He like set up like his shop or whatever on the floor and just had like old school boxes and everybody was walking by like, what? Like, why do you have that? But there was some other people that had really cool binders, and it's funny because looking back at it now, it's stuff that even just like 2-3 years ago or whatever, it's like really hard to find now. It was already hard to find back then, but now like to stumble upon stuff like that, it's just that much tougher to find.
Yeah, I mean we've been here for nearly a week now.
Yeah.
And we've been doing a lot of things where we've been hunting for Pokemon cards because obviously we're from the UK. It's a lot different and it's a lot harder in the UK just because we're a smaller country and I don't think we're as widely as accessible to get some of the stuff.
Yeah.
How hard has it been in the last probably year or two for you? Because obviously you do some really vintage box breaks. You open a lot of vintage packs on your channel. Obviously it's going to get harder, but how has the boom kind of affected your content creation in the sort of packs you want to open for your channel?
Yeah, so I mean right now, well, you know, it's like these waves come and go of just like tons of sealed product becoming available all of a sudden and then just like that, just vanishing. So I've noticed that it seems like we had the peak, everything was like up here, and then slowly over the last year, what it has been coming down. I think we're finally leveled off, it feels like. You know, you approach people and you're like, and you're looking to buy something and they're pretty firm, you know, people have been pretty firm. So I feel like it's been leveled off. But of course, like when I first started YouTube, I could probably get a base set booster box for maybe like $3,500.
Wow.
Yeah. And like some of my first videos were literally just opening up like a full Japanese gym challenge box of like a full box. I think those were like $700 for a whole box, $800. So I would have a series where I would open up a full Japanese box and just, you know, cut it up into like 3-4 videos. And though, yeah, it was because like most of those you get a Hollow pack, right?
Yeah.
Like, so those were fun. And then I did do a base set box, which is crazy to think about now. Just like sitting there and just like opening the whole thing yourself. But in general, it's been cool because, you know, there's so many different things to collect now that I've had such like a new sort of found, I don't know, you know, just for modern stuff in general. Like I stopped EX era. Like
Right.
that's where the first 3-4 years of my collecting was, you know, Wizard Coast EX. After that, I wasn't really getting involved in anything else, but once I started getting into YouTube and seeing all the different sets from further out, I was like, oh, this is so cool, Platinum Arrow, Diamond and Pearl, and it started going like head first into all these boxes and sets. So yeah, it's fun. There's like the positives and the negative things for each side of it, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I am totally with you on that. For myself, I don't really remember collecting many of the Neo sets. I feel like I stopped after Team Rocket. Yeah. I probably went to like secondary school, found an Xbox, PlayStation, whatever. But like you, since getting back into some of my YouTube channel and opening up packs, I'm appreciating so many of the older sets. And my love and taste is changing. At one point, I didn't like the E series. I now like Expedition is one of my favorite sets. I didn't really like the EX or the small EX sets. I love them now, like Team Rocket Returns.
I think it's over time.
It's just when you get into this sort of community and seeing these cards more and more, you're like, oh my god, I can appreciate that. I don't know why I didn't like that at the beginning.
In the first place, yeah, I'm the same. E-Series was never like top of the list for me, and now it is like some of my favourite cards and my favourite sets, and the booster boxes as well, like the Dream. And like Diamond and Pearl, I love Secret Wonders and all that sort of stuff. So, but as a kid, I didn't collect any of those sets. It was more getting back into the hobby as an adult and being able to appreciate cards that you weren't really familiar with.
Yeah,
you know?
And obviously back then or 3 years ago when you started, it was a lot easier or cheaper to open those sort of sets. have you found that now it's harder or more expensive to open up these sort of boxes? Has it made you, do you think your content's benefited from that because you had to kind of rejig how you think of making a video and stuff like that?
Yeah, so it's kind of like a double-edged sword. So basically, like, when I started, I would be like, okay, maybe I can open up this Japanese box. It costs $800. I can cut it up and do a couple videos. But in the beginning, obviously, it's tougher to get the views. So in that sense, it was tougher. But even though the prices have increased over the years, for me personally, it's kind of stayed the same because it was a trade-off. Like, cheaper product, a lot less views. Obviously, you know, bring in ad revenue to kind of help with opening stuff.
Yeah.
So then on the flip side, product being more expensive, but being able to pull in more views. So it kind of like it's like a weird balance.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely things that have changed over the years to kind of, I have to like change how I do certain things or how I want to approach opening a certain product. You know, like I have to get creative with that to be able to have people watch the video. It's really, you know, it's tough because to just sit down and open up, just say a booster box of like Darkness Ablaze, you have to get creative with it and find ways to make it entertaining and fun while you do that in this sort of like new collecting and social media type of thing. It's like every day there's more and more people jumping into it in all different avenues of that, whether it's like YouTube, collecting, investing. So like there's just continuing to have, you know, more people plow into the community. Yeah,
I mean, like, I feel like, I don't know about then because I wasn't really, I've only started recently, but I feel like since the boom, money is the biggest, and I can imagine it was back then as well, but like, you see in everyone's videos, if you pull something good, the price tag is next to it. I feel like as an audience, that is what people gravitate to normally, or naturally, sorry. So I feel like with back then where you could have opened up a base set box, for instance, I think another cool way of doing it is you can still kind of do that just by opening one pack, but if you do it in a creative way, like we've done in our videos where we've opened up like modern packs, but then at the end the win is the golden grail base set pack. It still has that same effect, but it's a creative way of working around of, well, these are much more expensive now, so we have to think differently of doing it. And it, in my opinion, I think it makes a better video than just being like, right, I've got a base set box, just fly through the packs. You do it like in a really creative way, it kind of keeps people's engagement, and it has something really sick at the end.
Yeah, I think like you said, because there's so many more people involved now, you have to think, well, what makes you different? You know, 10 different people could sit down and open the same box, but what are you going to do that has that edge to it that is maybe more entertaining or more informative or something that makes you stand out from the crowd? Because there's so many more people involved in the hobby now, and everyone is, you know, breaking boxes now, and even like vintage as well. So you have to do something that sort of makes you stand out, I think, is the best way I can describe it.
Yeah. Whatever personally that you have that you can bring to the table.
Yeah, whatever makes you unique as such.
You have whatever hobbies you have outside of it, or even within Pokemon, use that to your advantage and find a way to implement that into your content.
Yeah.
So it stands out and it's different.
Yeah.
And how long do you think it took for you to find your special thing? Because your evolution has been crazy from because personally I've been watching you since like 10K.
Yeah, I've been watching for a long time.
Oh wow.
And watching you back then to now, like even myself from when I was doing YouTube before my Pokemon channel, I was a statue. Just like I was there like, what's up guys, how's it going? Now I'm a lot more confident. But like even with you, like the evolution, how long do you think it took for you to go, oh, I feel this is like a lot more natural now, I feel like I'm getting myself across?
Probably like a year.
Yeah,
probably like a year to fully like come out of my shell. And that's what it is. It's like trying to like be yourself on camera and also like not be so like in your shell. Like it's tough to get used to being on camera. Like it took me, well, some people it's probably natural. For some people it takes time. And then also you have to learn everything. I mean, I learned everything just through doing videos. I would just look at it and say, okay, this is my first video. The next video, I'm gonna try to change one thing.
Right. Okay.
One little thing, whether it's like turning another light on or getting a different microphone or learning how to do something a little bit better. Just keep doing that every single day, and then when you look back, you're like, wow, that was like, yo, actually made videos like that. Was that me? Like, I'm gonna delete that. delete.
Yeah, no, literally, I cringe watching old videos now. I'm like, oh my god.
It's trial and error. If you don't start, everyone has to start somewhere, and when you look back, it's not going to be perfect, and it's not going to be polished, and like you say, change one thing. Like I've gone through, I don't know how many cameras, microphones, lights, set up. You just have to keep adapting basically with it.
And how it's good. I mean, you look back and it's really like a good thing, you know. You'd be like, oh wow.
You're working towards the right, you're going in the right direction.
Well, as long as you're growing and taking one step forward, it's
then it works.
But how analytical would you say you are? You mentioned like you try and improve at least one thing every video. Do you go through like all your analytics, like, or do you just go, right, I'm just going to try and make the next video better? Or do you go, right, okay, let's look at this part, that needs to be improved, blah, blah, blah. Is that something you do?
I do, yeah, and it's you can learn a lot from all of the tools and analytics behind the scenes. As you guys know, you can look at literally the second somebody's like leaving the video and everything, which is cool to see, because then you can improve. Like, okay, what did I do here that people were just like either bored or they didn't really like, and not do that again, and cut this out and do this differently, and learn how to keep audiences engaged, keep the retention, the people clicking on the thumbnails, and it's all that, and it may seem silly, like if you're not involved with making content on YouTube, you're like what is this dude doing, like like that, like it's like, and some people might not know, like, no, that is like the game that we play to like, you have to be able to get somebody to click on the video. That's the number one thing. But yeah, I mean, I'll watch, any sort of like interviews or podcasts with like any like the big creators and try to learn as much as I can, just soak it up like a sponge. And I'm learning something every single day, multiple things a day, so it's just just every day something different.
Always growing.
Always.
Yeah, I hear that.
Can't get comfortable.
You definitely can't, because it shows, especially on this, and people, there's always someone coming up, so you have to just stay. It's one of the things that's so hard, is staying on top of everything.
Yeah, of the game, not necessarily your game.
And YouTube is forever evolving. You might think you've cracked it at one point, and then something happens, and it's like, what the hell?
Like, I don't think you can ever just sit back and relax, because when you do, someone then might step up a little bit more than you are, and then suddenly you see, well, people are going to watch them instead of me, and you've always just got to be creative and, like you say, learning new stuff. Like, there isn't like a guide or like a rule book. Everyone, like you say, watches videos or listens to podcasts and just tries to take in a little bit, like, here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, and the great thing is there's room for like everybody. Like, I encourage people to jump in and have fun and make videos, because honestly, there's something for everybody, and not even just in Pokemon, but just in general. So I mean, somebody comes up and just starts opening packs, and they're funny, and they just do like silly stuff and whatever. Like, like it's like you can build a following, but not only that, like, you can have fun, and also you can kind of like offset some of the costs involved with opening up products. It gets expensive, right? I mean, even just a normal booster box, like I think like Brilliant Stars is like $130 or something. $130 like dollars for that. So if you can make a video and you can kind of like recoup that money while still having fun, and just if it's as a hobby, I definitely encourage people to kind of at least test it out and just have fun with it. You never know, you could be the next person with 1 million subscribers, like by just messing around.
You don't ever want to grow up thinking, if only I tried it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the worst?
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's not the end of the world. And if it works, then...
failing I'd be way happier failing than not ever trying.
I always say fall forward. So if you're going to fall forward.
I like that one.
It's a good one.
Fall backwards, have somebody to catch you.
Make sure there's not a cliff behind you. But okay, let's talk about the early days. So you managed to acquire a massive collection, if I'm right in thinking that?
So oddly, what's funny? It's actually, that was probably after 3 years after I started getting heavily into it. I don't know if that was like a rumor that I heard at one point that was like, oh, PokeRev, like, just like the first day he started, it was just a massive like collection that he found, like hundreds of. No, it was really just like that was like 3 years into like being like super heavily involved in it, and finally like making that right connection and having something really cool happen. But before that, I started just kind of getting back into it. I was just on eBay and I was buying like the old Pokemon Red and Blue games and the original games, and I would buy them up and like just replace the battery, clean them up and stuff like that. And then I saw on the side there was a base set booster box for sale, like on that sponsored side or something. It was like $900. I was doing pretty good for myself at the time. Like it was probably like 7 years ago now. I can't even remember, something like that. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy this, and I want to open up a box of this, like from my childhood. That's what I grew up with, and you know how it goes. You get it, and you're done. Like, that's it. After that, I was like fully like just absorbing as much information as I could, and just learning so much, and being able to open boxes and packs. It was just like the most fun, nostalgic thing. I'll never forget the first time I opened up an old Wizard of the Coast pack, getting back into it after being a kid. It was just like, it's so crazy to say, but like the smell of like opening the pack up, the cardboard has like this super like vintage, like at that time, like I feel like each like trading card game or whatever it is, they have like a certain like smell, and like smell is such a huge trigger for memory.
Yeah.
I was like, like instantly, I was like, I was like, oh my god, it's 1999. It was fun.
I know. Nostalgia. I feel like, I don't know if this is just something you grow up with. It's like as we get older, nostalgia just brings you back.
It gets stronger. It definitely gets stronger as you get older. Like there are things that I thought would never trigger me, and they do, and I'm like, whoa! Like you say, your head just
It just fulfills a feeling that it's almost like you can never get unless
well, you're never gonna be a kid again. Yeah.
It's just crazy, but so you were collecting quite a while before you actually started a YouTube channel. Do you feel like by gaining the knowledge and all the stuff you started to collect, what pushed you to go, right, do you know what, let me put this on YouTube? Or was there a catalyst that made you go, I should be putting this on YouTube? Or was there something like, you know what, I'm not, like, I don't know how to explain it. I guess, was there a catalyst that was going to put it to make it on YouTube?
Yeah, there was. I mean, so with me, I was opening everything under the sun for the first like 2 years, maybe even up to 3 years, where I was having like the time of my life. Like I was literally having the time of my life. You know, you could buy like an Aquapolis booster box and open it up and sit there, and I would like literally throw on Pokemon, like the original anime. Yeah. And I would sit there and I would open the whole box, like everything, and sleeve everything up. And at the time, it was just really completely different landscape for all that stuff. The opportunity was really there to do these things. Of course, it was still expensive, but when you're comparing like an Aquapolis box for like $2,000 compared to like whatever $30,000, I don't know what the price is. It's hugely different. So I was doing these things and collecting, and of course I was like buying and selling, and you have to if you want to be able to continue doing what you want to do. So obviously like you get a big card and you could sell it and make the money back that you had in the box and keep everything else. That's kind of the way I was doing it. But I would do that in the beginning, and if I really wish I had filmed all those boxes because you would not believe how chill I was. I was just like Aquapolis box.
Who's that Pokemon? It's Pikachu.
Like just and like sometimes it was multiple boxes in a day. Like wow. Like just multiple was and like and I remember sitting there opening up. I'll never forget. I remember thinking, this is a short window opportunity to be able to do this, because I feel like when I got in, it was like I felt like more people were gonna continue to flow in like rapidly into the hobby, because it's not like people weren't collecting, but it was sitting there thinking like this is too good to be true. A base set booster box, to be opening up for this price, I can't be the only grown like child that wants to relive this stuff. So I kind of sensed it was coming. So I just kept collecting, but it was always in the back of my mind like, it'd be cool to put this on YouTube and like just have people watch. But I always found excuses, because I was like, I don't have the camera, I don't have a microphone, I don't know how to do this. Yeah. So I never did it until 3 years after I started collecting, which was 2019, like end of 2019, I was like, all right, get my phone, put it on like a open box, like just tilted it back a little bit, hit record, and I finally did it, and I was like, I don't want to put it on YouTube though. I was like, let me put it on Instagram, because I have like somewhat of a following on Instagram. I was like, let me put it on Instagram. I put it on there, and the reception seemed to be great, and I did that for like a month, and then I was finally like, okay, I talked to a bunch of people, other YouTubers, and they were like, oh dude, you gotta put it on YouTube. And I was like, really? It's that simple? Like, yeah, just put it on YouTube. And then I started putting videos on YouTube, and then just right away I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, this is my thing. Like, I'm doing this. And it's just like, once you get that I know for me, once I get that mindset, I'm just going all in on it. Like, I've realized it's something that I'm really passionate about, and I want to learn, and I want to figure this thing out. So I said to myself, I've been doing pretty good for myself over the last like 5 years or so, and I was like, I'm gonna just have money saved up. I'm gonna just go all out for 1 year straight.
See how it goes.
If I fail, I'm cool with that. Like, I would be more upset if I'd never tried. Yeah. And that was the thing that was bothering me. Like it's like, I'm really never gonna try this. Like, I really feel like I might be able to, and so I just went for it, and thankfully, it just worked out, and I'm incredibly thankful for every single person that, especially in the early days of watching me, like, because I was a little cringe. I'm not gonna lie. So I appreciate it. Like, it's now to be able to do this full time is just
the dream.
So you can't. Yeah, it's just there's nothing else. I don't think I could. Like, that's what it is for me. So
yeah, that's like myself. I don't see myself doing anything else apart from content creation. Like, I've been doing it for ages. It's like my sole passion. But as two content creators in the Pokemon community, who have just been starting in the last year or two, how important do you think it is to have a tight-knit community? Because we feel like we have started to build, we know a lot of people that come in our streams when we do our box breaks, who watch and comment on our video. How important is it, do you think, for someone who potentially is starting out to kind of try and build, because a lot of people, I can imagine, just want to go for the views. They want to get as many subscribers, get as many views as possible. But I think personally, it's best to build a community
knowing your audience, maybe.
Did you find that at the beginning that you had the same people kind of coming back to your streams? It's good to, because I know in some of your box breaks you're like, I haven't seen you in ages, like what's going on, like, sort of thing. So it's like, it's good to remember those people.
Yeah, it's really just like, so starting out, I was doing I would record videos and upload them for like a couple of months, and after a while, the breaking out of my shell, part of that had to do with me starting to do the live streams.
Yeah.
Right.
But not only that, that's where one-on-one with the community really started happening, where it was like, oh my God, I can actually like stream, and there are people here watching me live, and I can interact with them. And that was like, I feel like that was really the foundation for me building the community, and those sort of like where I can be like, oh yeah, what's up, like John in the chat, like it's good to see you, like it's been a minute or whatever. And like there's people that have been coming back to my streams since I started the streams 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like that's definitely like incredibly important to just and being yourself, right, and doing what you feel is the right thing, Yeah. So it's been fun. It's been a ride.
And then I guess in terms of collection goals, we mentioned this to Radar and Don Diego.
Yeah, we did.
He's been in the community for a long time, collecting for a long time. He mentioned that he's kind of done everything that he wanted to do. He collected all the base sets, all the WotC sets or whatever. Now he's kind of moved, and that's one of the reasons he moved on to trophies. Has there been something that you've gone, do you know what, I've done all that, I want something new, there's a new collection goal? I mean, everyone's goals are changing 24/7. Is there something?
Every day of the week.
Every day you wake up.
Literally. Is there anything that you're working towards at the moment? It doesn't have to be exactly Pokemon. Is it something on your channel or something like that?
Yeah. So I completed my booster box collection. That's one that I've been working on for since I started, like 7 years ago. So I completed that, and something that I really want to get. It's like, it'll be, I mean, if it happens, it happens. If not, but I'm going to try to. I'd really love to get even just one snap card. Just one.
Yeah.
Just one. I know I'll never have them all. Yeah, because you love Pokemon Snap, right?
Yeah.
That's like the grail for me.
Which one would you go for if you could choose?
I like the Charmander. I like the and it's so funny because over the years you look back and it's like these opportunities were there and you're just like, just pass on it.
Yeah.
And you look back like 6 years later, you're like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. Literally, because there's the Max Mofo has the Gyarados, right? I'm pretty sure Max Mofo got the Gyarados.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, a couple of years ago. And then recently we've had the Magikarp.
Yeah, I was going to say that was the most recent.
And then I believe there's a Pikachu.
There's currently a Pikachu.
I don't think I've ever had one pop up.
Yeah.
I know there's one that has a pop up. I think it was the Pikachu. I'm not sure.
They are a grail for me as well.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like the unobtainable, and that makes you want it even more. Like, say, like when ones haven't popped up, it's even more like, do we even know what's out there? And obviously, when the Magikarp, there was the whole big deal with that. And I think it's the Pikachu. It's currently on Yahoo Japan at the moment. I keep seeing stories about one.
Oh, really?
It's around $270,000.
It's hard to. It's with those though. It's so hard. You never see them. It's so hard to check if they're legit or not.
I was gonna say I don't even know where to start.
Most are ungraded. A lot of them that pop up are ungraded.
I think
so
they're the only ones I've seen. Yeah.
So you want a snap card?
I would love to have a snap card. I'm not picky though.
Tell me a snap card.
If you're watching this and you got one, he's
Send
looking.
it this way.
Is there anything else that you're trying to complete? Obviously, that is a very big goal. Is there anything that's maybe like a bit more short or easier to
bit more manageable.
Actually manageable. Yeah. That you don't have to like sit on the computer 24/7 just like hoping that it'll happen.
You're gonna have to go to Japan and find someone.
Yeah, go on like a world tour just to even make maybe a 1% chance of it happening.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I pretty much just picking up cards that I enjoy. Gold stars are pretty cool. I've had a lot of them, and I've fortunately sold a lot of them over the years, but picking up some gold stars would be fun. Getting into like the Poncho Pikachus.
Yeah.
I opened up one of those boxes, and as soon as I saw those, I was like, all right,
need them.
Where are the rest of those
Next
at?
obsession.
Yeah. So those are they're getting up there in price, but they're obviously a lot more accessible and easier to find than something like a snap card. Mm-hmm. So those are cool. You just picking up these things. And I mean, one thing that'd be cool to do again would be a first edition base set box opening. Just thinking of something crazy that would be pretty amazing to do. Just continuing to grow the community, grow the channel, and just to continue doing what I'm doing and continue to just kind of evolve things and not getting comfortable with something. Like I do something one day, the next day I'm like, all right, I've got to change everything completely and do something completely different. That's kind of like been my mindset every day, or try to anyway. But yeah, that's probably about it.
I mean, you mentioned about you used to open up like a booster box and watch the Pokemon anime. Right now, I'm currently watching Yu-Gi-Oh on Netflix, and I'm like, kind of want to open up some Yu-Gi-Oh. And you used to have PokeRev.
Yes.
He's disappeared for a while.
He's in the Shadow Realm.
Yeah, he's literally in the Shadow Realm.
Yeah.
We kind of speak about this to a few people we have on the podcast. How has, since starting YouTube, affected your personal goals? Because we have said in multiple episodes, and people are probably getting bored of this, but we say like since starting our channels, with the capital and the money we have, where we say, right, we could buy this card we want for our collection, in the back of our minds we're thinking, but I could use that on my channel.
Yeah.
Has your personal collection been affected quite a lot while starting YouTube, just because you've wanted to invest it into your channel?
So, for me, anything that I've had in my collection before I started the channel, I just made it a thing, like just mentally. I'm not going to touch anything from my personal collection. Right. I'm not going to dig into like my booster box collection and these things and turn that into like content on my channel. So it'll strictly be like, I want this, I'm going to buy this and do it that way. Right. But in terms of collecting, it's actually kind of worked out because for instance, we were just talking about the Poncho Pikachus. It works out because, like normally I would just go and buy the card and that would be that. But through the channel, I'm able to create a piece of content that people will watch, and that will, just by watching the video, that's why I always tell people, like, literally just watch the video. Like, that's the anything that you could ever do to support the channel is just literally just watch the video.
Yeah.
Because by that happening, then I have the opportunity to do these things where I can open this box up and I can offset some of the costs from just people watching the videos.
Yeah.
So it's actually worked out in that sense where normally it'd be like, okay, I have to pay like thousands of dollars for these cards.
Yeah.
Maybe I can pay like half of that from doing it this way.
Yeah.
So it's actually kind of helped it out. But there's also been instances where I do have an opportunity to maybe get a box that I would really like for my collection, but then you kind of have to decide, should I have this in my collection or should I do this as a piece of content?
Yeah.
So that's where that decision can come into play.
How hard has that been?
Some boxes it's been tough. You know, some boxes I'm like, I really need this for my collection. Luckily, I just finished my whole booster box collection, so it's not as tough anymore. But there's been some instances where it's like, man, I really need this box. But I know people have been like dying to see this box get open or whatever the item is.
Especially if it doesn't come around that often.
Yeah.
You don't know when the next one. It's not that easy.
One of them is like Deoxys. I mean, I did get that one in my collection years ago, luckily. But like, yeah, it's their boxes like that where they're just like.
Well, we've always wanted to do a Secret Wonders break, and that was the last box for your collection, right?
Yeah.
That seems to be like gold dust again.
I feel like I said that once out loud, and then all I saw everywhere was everyone picking up Secret Wonders, the price going up, and then I was like, I'm just not going to say anything ever again.
It was like the most random set that I needed. I mean,
and
like out of everything, it was Secret Wonders.
I feel like the popularity for that and some of the other sets around that era have just gone through the roof, and everyone just is making it really, really hard to get a Secret Wonders box.
Very, very difficult.
Yeah, because I mean, if you look at it like EX era, well, you can even you can really start at the E series from Wizard of the Coast era.
Yeah.
It's just not printed enough. Like, well, I mean, they printed enough for the demand at the time, but
now it's
through EX, through Diamond and Pearl. Yeah, and then you even move into like Platinum and Heart Gold Soul Silver still, and then finally like Black and White.
Yeah.
We're starting. There's
the supply.
Something's happening.
There,
You know, it's getting more popular again, and Black and White is there, and then after that, obviously everything else. But there's that area of just like you can find a fossil booster box. You can find a base set box. Somehow it's the oldest boxes, but like when you're trying to find like a Dragon Frontiers or like a Holland Phantoms. Holland Phantoms, that was like insane to get. Holland Phantoms, like just can't find it.
Yeah,
can't find it. And on top of that, with the EX era, people were just opening them left and right to get the gold stars out.
Yeah.
So
even tougher with the gold star ones.
Yeah.
So taking nostalgia out, what has been, in your personal opinion, your favorite era to open?
Probably the current era. I mean, because that's. Sword and Shield started right when I started my channel, like a couple months after, and it's just kind of like, that was me getting into modern, like actually getting into modern, like Black and White and newer, and from there, like I started with the base set, I started learning about it and getting really into it with the gold cards, the rainbows, then they, I guess the alt art cards came a little bit before that or whatever, but like the alt arts and all that were just Sun and Moon and just getting into it, so that's been fun. But I'm actually over it. Like, I'm ready for the new generation. I'm like, is it almost here?
How impressed have you been with it? Because I was saying to you, Sword and Shield, like, I think it's been incredible. Like, we've had so much stuff. We've had the amazing rares, we've got the trainer gallery, we've got all arts.
Especially Brilliant Stars, I think they really, did a great
Brilliant Stars is going to be hard to top this year. It's actually going to be, I don't know what they... Do you think tag team cards might come back? Would you like to see the return of tag team?
I mean, yeah, that would be amazing to see again, but... As long as there's a subset. Give me a subset.
Yeah.
And then work from there.
It makes it
I feel like that's the base now. I feel like Pokemon has seen with Hidden Fates, Shining Fates that people love a subset. And if we're going to have Brilliant Stars, which has a subset as the first set of 2022, like it has, that's the bar now. Like you can't go back from that because people are just not going to be interested.
No.
So I don't know.
They got to see it now with Brilliant Stars and Astral Radiance coming up with the trainer gallery. I don't know what's up Pokemon Go, but we'll see.
Oh yeah, what do you think about that?
I don't know what to think about it yet, to be honest, but it'll be interesting. I guess it's a subset coming out, right? It's
a main set.
It's a main set.
I'm pretty sure Pokemon Go is a main set.
So there'll be booster boxes?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, I could be wrong, flash back into like 2
No, I
months.
don't know.
Yeah,
I've heard it is a main set.
You know what, I did hear that too. I actually did hear that too. It just sounds weird to say.
I was gonna
like
say I
there's
can't
booster
really
boxes.
picture.
Yeah, you can't picture it as booster boxes. I picture it as collection boxes and all that stuff, which you can see some of the products now. It seems like a celebration type set to me, but I guess.
Be interesting.
You know what? Nah, because Pokemon Go is huge, so it actually does make sense that have it as a main set, because I don't know if they're gonna have the cards interact. I mean, I would assume they probably would have the cards interact with the game. So if they don't have it in booster boxes and easily accessible for people to have, they need to print a lot of it.
Yeah.
So I think then normally, like, if it wasn't intertwined with the game, it would make more sense as the subset, but it makes more sense to have it as a main set to correlate with the game.
Especially if it needs to be printed a lot. They're probably going to just be pumping that out.
Demand.
We know with the subsets, it's like if there's no booster boxes, after a year you can forget like the normal retail price on stuff.
Yeah, literally
like,
it doubles.
It's just gone.
But that's actually a really cool point in the fact that Pokemon are now doing those sorts of things. If, we don't know if this is actually confirmed, but if the Pokemon Go set is a way to interact with the game, like I feel like Pokemon, and we mentioned this in the previous one, I feel like Pokemon are missing a trick. We mentioned the snap cards with the contest, like if they do those sort of things, I think that just makes those cards even more special. Like that's one of the reasons why I want a snap card, and same as you. Pokemon Snap's been one of our favourite games. The only way you could get that card is by winning the contest, and it just makes it so much more special. So
it's something people to, like, I don't know, work towards. There's a bit of a chase with it, or there's something.
So with Pokemon Go, imagine that they did a contest where you have to get a picture of your Pokemon against the Big Ben or the Empire State Building.
I thought you were going to say the Eiffel Tower.
I nearly did. The Statue of Liberty, and someone wins that.
Yeah.
That's like a special card. Like just stuff like that. I feel like Pokemon slightly missing the trick with that and can make something more special. But at the end of the day, I think as collectors, we need to remember that the priority of Pokemon cards is it's a game.
Yeah.
And that's where I think a lot of people think, why are they not doing this? Is because the game is the main thing with the cards.
That's the premise of it as such.
Yeah.
So, did you play much of the TCG? Did you ever play?
I was getting really into it, like on the actual
online
game.
Yeah,
because I was too too nervous to play in person. Like I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing.
Your cards.
Like I'll let everything like all come out for me. I'm like, all right, there you go. But yeah, I think I'm actually going to pre-release for Astral Radiance.
Oh,
so
sick.
That'll be my first like pre-release, which should be soon. I feel like a couple weeks maybe.
Yeah, I think it's in May.
Yeah, it's not long at all now.
I did Brilliant Stars and it was so much fun.
Really?
Because the way they do it now is that the decks, we could all get the same sort of deck, but there's a slight change. So you can only play with those decks, but you get 4 packs as well. So I couldn't rock up with like a beast deck and you'd be like, oh my god, like we'd be on the same playing level.
So the same level, yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
I just do playground rules, like just literally you can just do what you want. You throw down the energy. Like that's how I would play as a kid. It's like, yeah, whatever you want to throw in your deck, you're good. And then
you'd throw in a Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah, throw that in there. You know, you got the old school like jelly, like damage counter things.
Oh my goodness.
That's just, just pull it out of your pocket.
Bam, you're in.
That's how I play. So I don't know if that's still the way to play now.
So you also collect games. We were lucky enough to go into the Poke Cave.
Mm-hmm.
It was a massive collection of, which I've got to say I give massive props to, because Nintendo 64 was my thing as well. So many cool games. You had GoldenEye, Mario Party, Banjo-Kazooie. Did you start collecting games before Pokemon cards, or did they kind of come hand in hand? What's the story behind that?
I started collecting Pokemon cards first, and that's kind of got me into the whole collector mentality. So I did that for a couple years. Well, I mean, obviously I do it until now, but the first couple years was just Pokemon cards. Then I started getting into like just right into video game. Like I was just like obsessed with it for probably like a year, just collecting video games with Pokemon cards. My main, I still kick myself because I was just about finished my Nintendo 64 collection. I was like pretty much there. I still need like Smash Bros. Maybe, that one's like, just need Smash Bros. That one's like crazy to get. Like that and a couple other games, like maybe 1 or 2 more, and like I was done with collecting the games from Nintendo 64, and I was moving into GameCube. And I picked up maybe 3 or 4 GameCube games, And then, just life, right? Like, you get preoccupied with other things, and then I started my channel and just drove my attention away from it, and I started doing all these other things, and then video games started going crazy, and like,
oh my god,
a lot of games and VGA, and like all this stuff started happening. But that was the same thing. I was doing Pokemon for a couple years, and like Pokemon was progressively getting more and more popular. But then I moved over to video games, and I was like, this seems too good of prices. Like, this is like, and I thought the same thing. I was like, can't be the only person that wants old video games.
Surely it's gonna start.
Yeah, it's like, and then I was just, my nostalgia passion just kicked in, and I'm like, all right, I need to get these now because I feel like things are gonna start happening. I just like sensed it. It only made sense, like, as comic books are still popular, coins and currencies and stamps, and I don't care about that stuff. And it's like, thinking the same, like, I don't think other people, I mean, I'm sure, like, you can collect whatever you want, but I'm just saying the majority of popularity and stuff is stuff that we did from our generation: video games, Pokemon cards, whatever else. So I was like, I need to start collecting this stuff now because I want it, and I know it's going to start getting unattainable. And then, I wish I did the GameCube collection because I love GameCube as well. But
this was like this big.
Yeah.
Literally like.
It's always Nintendo doing something like different. Like, nah, we're going to do this, but we're going to make them this big. It's like, all right.
Gotta go with whatever. But do you think that you'll ever expand? Obviously, when you started posting content on YouTube with Pokemon cards, do you think you'll ever expand with games as well? Do you think there's ever, like, because you said you kind of saw, there isn't really many people doing this. Do you think you'll do that with games as well? I mean, obviously it's a lot harder when you already have a channel. I guess it's more of a time.
No, that's a good question though, honestly. Yeah, well, see, for me, when I want to do something, I just turn on, like, trying to make the most perfect thing ever. So for me, it's like, not that it ends up being perfect, trust me, it's not perfect at all, but like, I put everything into it. So like, for me to start a second channel, I think to myself, like, how much time can I put into this? Probably not enough for me to make it something that I'm happy with. Because it took me like 2 years to actually do like a video game collection tour. I put it on my main channel, which it's interesting because, like, I think I can do that stuff on this channel. And what I noticed was with the video game collection, it was like a super slow start. But like, I mean, a lot of people watched it from my audience, but it wasn't anywhere like how normally videos would do. So, but I noticed with, like, it had a slow start, and then it just kind of like, it went like that, and then it started just like to level off. But then what I noticed what happened was YouTube was like, hey, like, I'm going to send this to the correct audience.
Right, okay.
And it started sending it to people that aren't subscribed to me, maybe, like they don't never see me before because they don't do Pokemon. And yeah, so what happened was then it started taking off, and it's actually, people are actually watching it like a lot more now. So I was thinking maybe of doing video game, like, collecting stuff, maybe a video or two a month just to sprinkle it in. But not enough for me to, I mean, who knows, I could change my mind. Like, like I said, I always like just change my mind.
We'll revisit this.
Just sprinkle it in to the main channel. It's somewhat close enough to put, it's in the same sort of.
It's always that anxiety though of it, like, you don't know how well it's going to go because it's not what people are used to watching. So it's like, it's almost the fear of doing it. So,
and if they don't like it, then do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like,
until you do it, then
Yeah, I mean, props to it because you got it's an amazing collection, and like I said, GameCube, Nintendo do the funny stuff, but it's also like the most enjoyable. Like Mario Party was so fun.
And memorable as well, I think.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of it relates back to.
It was very, very fun back in the day. Is there any questions you have?
No, I think we've covered quite a lot.
I think we've had enough of your time. I mean, you got to go back to the
PokeRev video today.
I know, we're on a roll.
Yeah, like we say, guys, we have done lots of videos across all 3 channels, so we'll leave all the links in the description. Big thank you to you, PokeRev, for coming on the Podcast. It's been amazing getting to.
It's been a good tour.
Yeah, getting into your brain and seeing how everything works. If you do enjoy this video, guys, be sure to hit that like button.
Smash the like button.
Smash the like button.
Destroy the like button, please.
You got to do it. And then I guess this concludes our US tour for now.
It does. The next time you see us, we'll be back in the studio. I know, it's a bit depressing. But we'll be on tour again, hopefully later in the year. So
that's going to wrap up the video. Thank you again once, PokeRev, and we will see you very soon.